Bienvenidos and welcome back to Puro Pinche Gol, the place we discuss all things USMNT y la selección mexicana. My name is Adrian. Joining me once again, my co-host Tocayo, Adrian. Adrian, what's good, man? How are you?
Hey, what's up, dude? Almost the end of the week. Jornada doble in ligamx. Kind of exciting, but also at the same time, a little sad because we're gonna have the month hiatus until Leagues Cup starts and ends. But yeah,
Yeah, what a downer, right? Just as soon
for
as
real.
Liga MX is picking up steam, it just. But a lot of good games since Jornada Tres started and Jornada Dos ended. Apologies we weren't able to get that Jornada Dos recap for Liga MX out. I've been extremely busy with the process of moving, but we'll get that Jornada Tres recap out. We'll also discuss what happened in Jornada Dos there. But definitely a lot of surprises, especially that Cruz Azul Monterrey game
Mhm.
was a crazy one. But we'll discuss further in another video. But Adrian, this video is about the recent news, man. A lot going on in Liga in la Federación Mexicana, man, FMF, with coaching changes. Jimmy Lozano officially out, Mexican head coach. Mexico has parted ways with him following that group stage exit of the Copa América 2024, and pretty much it was a demotion that was offered to Jaime Lozano, right? He was offered with his coaching staff, with Jimmy Lozano's coaching staff, a contract until 2030, in which during the 2024 to 2026 World Cup campaign cycle, they were going to be headed by a more experienced coach who all sources and everything's pointing to Vascoaguirre. Still hasn't been officially announced, but it's pretty much like you said. We were talking before this, pretty much just negotiating at this point of financial terms. But after the 2026 World Cup, Jimmy Lozano was going to retake the helm as head coach for the 2026, 2020, 2030 process. So kind of a slap in the face to Jimmy Lozano there. I mean, if anybody's ever gotten a promotion at work and then have somebody come back and tell you, you know what, hold up, we're going to demote you again. I mean, I could see why he would say no there. But what are your first thoughts on this, man?
I think everyone knew that it was bound to happen after Mexico got grouped in Copa America. It's also, you know, again, it isn't a surprise just because how things started and a few other small incidents that happened between Jimmy's first day at the job and Jimmy's last day at the job, where you had Doña Fede's uh, great commissioner La Bomba essentially going out of a record saying that they're going to let Jimmy fire himself, that they were not going to fire him. They learned through Coca that firing a coach is way more expensive than just asking him to get demoted and and let someone else with more experience take the job. So that's pretty much what happened, man. I'm pretty sure they settled uh, outside of the public and just pretty much told Jimmy, hey, this is what's going to happen. Offer him a job with the hopes that he would say no. And it's what they ended up doing. Again, is this the best decision for Mexico? Not sure, to be honest. I am not sure if this is the best decision for Mexico. Um, I think it is also a situation of perhaps El Jimmy just not necessarily, looking at things holistically and understanding that, hey, yes, you may feel capable for the job, but realize at the same time that there's a lot of things that you still have to learn, and maybe having someone with more experience on your side would have been beneficial. And also just not necessarily trusting Doña Fede in any way whatsoever, right? Um, it is unfortunate for Jimmy because it's always bad news when someone loses their job, and I would love to say that it's a toss up for la selección mexicana, and how the future will pan out, but I think we all have this feeling that it's going to be pan con lo mismo.
Before we discuss Vasco Aguirre, I want to keep talking about Jaime Lozano here. Specifically, one question for you. Do you think Jimmy Lozano will get another shot with eltri in the future?
Oof, that is a very tough question, and I think unfortunately for Jimmy Lozano, this El Tri tenure has been way more detrimental to his career than giving him any benefit whatsoever. Will he be out of a job for a long time? Maybe not. He's probably gonna get called up for an MLS team or a small team in Liga MX. Like, I think he'll be a good coach for maybe San Luis, Mazatlan, Puebla, you name it. Um, but unless he's able to find his way back into, or maybe find himself in a position where he starts to shine, whether if it's at MLS level or Liga MX or maybe like second division in Spain or whatever, maybe that's perhaps the route that he finds himself back in Liga sorry, at the helm of El Tri. But I think this is pretty much set in stone. It will be like a one time thing only, and that's it. I don't see him, being the under 23 coach again. I don't see him getting another shot, just because of how things ended.
Yeah, at least not anytime soon. Like you said, I mean, he's gonna have to
Yeah.
do miraculous things with the club. Get Mazatlan to a final or something to really get considered and seen again as that, as an elite coach. Not that he was ever seen as an elite coach, but just get that chance again with Mexico, I think.
Yeah.
But let's talk about Jaime Lozano's tenure, man. I mean, obviously he was initially brought on after the diegococca sacking last June as an interim coach for the Gold Cup, which he ultimately won against Panama in the final. Santi Jimenez's last goal for la seleccion there. And then he was offered the permanent position in August of last year, 2023. But things after that kind of got a little rocky on La Lamborjimmy. As we remember, Mexico barely qualified to the Nations League semifinals through penalties against Honduras, I believe it was. And that is how they were able to secure qualification for the Copa América. Had they lost that in the Nations League quarterfinals, they wouldn't have qualified to Copa América. So that was already kind of strike one where people started to question, Jaime Lozano's leadership, at the helm of eltri. Obviously, you move on to the next year, 2024, and it starts with the Nations League where they lose again to the United States 2-0 in the Nations League final. Another, strike two for Jaime Lozano here where, unable to beat the USMNT, in the Nations League. And then, we go back to starting Copa América this summer where they lose to Uruguay and Brazil. Doesn't paint a nice picture, doesn't give you a lot of hope for the tournament, but people still believe, I still was kind of believing that they'd get out the group. I know you were a little bit more pessimistic at the start of Copa America, but it was a doable group there in Copa America with Ecuador, Venezuela, and Jamaica. And ultimately, Mexico fell short, got third place in the group, and were, eliminated from the tournament, which ultimately led to 2 weeks between, it's been this week that Jaime Lozano was announced that he would not join or not retain, part of the FMF. But it took 2 weeks for this decision to kind of happen after that match, or after the elimination. But even after Copa America, they were saying the project continues with Lozano. Julio Davino was quoted in saying that there's not going to be any big change. But if you're looking this holistically, from above you, how would you rate Jaime Lozano's tenure with the three? He went 10 wins, 4 draws, and 7 loss record.
Honestly, uneventful. That's how I would put it. Uneventful. With lack of direction, maybe like a blimp in time. And what I mean with this is he came in as a firefighter, right, to save eltri, to try to make something out of the debacle with diegococca. And for the last 2 years, he didn't change anything. Nothing significantly changed in Mexico whatsoever. He wasn't even able to establish like a generational change that he was claiming to do. Even that was his flag going into this Copa America. Even though we all know that he didn't use like any under 20 player, right? So what kind of generational change we're talking about when you're not playing any youngster? So unfortunately for El Jimmy, he was just another victim, and even more unfortunate for Mexico. This was just a huge waste of time.
I don't think anybody in 20 years is going to remember back and say, I remember that time Jaime Lozano had eltri for a year and a half,
Yes.
like they do with La Volpe, or they do even with the Piojo Herrera era, right? I mean, it's kind of remember. But kind of shifting gears here, I want to get your opinion on his possible replacement, El Vascoaguirre. Here, that I know you're not the biggest Vasco fan. We've talked and you've kind of said it's going to be more or less the same. And we kind of said, what has Vasco really done for eltri? When he was at their helm in 2002, they lost in the round of 16 of the USMNT in the World Cup, right?
By the way, the biggest loss in Mexico's history in the World Cup. Changed my mind.
And then again, he took over, and nothing really different, right? 2010 South Africa, when he had El Conejo Perez in the goal.
And he played El Bofo against Argentina.
And he took Cuauhtemoc Blanco after Cuauhtemoc missed the 2006 World Cup. A lot of questionable choices there. But what can we expect from Vasco Aguirre, and what are your thoughts on him coming back, man?
Okay, I'm going to preface everything with this. I think Javier El Vasco Aguirre is perhaps the best Mexican coach in history, period. Given, he had a very kind of sort of, meh career, if you look at it, right? Maybe like 2 ligamx championships, 1 concacaf with Monterrey, and some good seasons with Osasuna, with Atletico Madrid, some other good seasons, saving other teams from relegation in La Liga. But overall, very middle of the table, if you ask me.
As far as Mexican coaches go, good.
Yes,
But if you compare it
exactly.
to on the world stage,
Uh-huh.
average, right?
And then the fact that he coached Japan and Egypt, and that's great. That's all nice and that it's awesome. He opened the door for more Mexican coaches to follow him. Unfortunately, no one has done that. But
Right.
putting that aside, I don't think it's the best option for Mexico. I just don't think it is. Yes, he will definitely have, his weight in the locker room will be significantly heavier than Jimmy Lozano, right? And he comes with all this experience and being an ex eltri player and having gone through a different locker rooms and just coaching different nationalities and understanding like football in a global context. Yes, that definitely he comes with that experience. He comes with that baggage. He comes with that specific set of skills. Will this help him shape the Mexican team into form? Maybe, yeah, because another, one of the sins that Jimmy Lozano committed was being super lax with the players. Like there were reports going around saying that they were, a night before a game, they were pretty much, and again, they're free to do whatever they want, right? But they were chatting with their families, with some friends, taking pictures, figuring out tickets for them for their family. I mean, you name it, whatever it is, you're not
Chilling with
focused.
Grupo Frontera.
Exactly. Like you're not focused on the competition, man. And Jimmy Lozano permitted this. Jimmy Lozano was an accomplice to this kind of behavior. I think with Javier Vascoaguirre, we might see less of this because Javier Aguirre sees football as a profession. He is a professional of the sport. And with that sense, I hope that he instills that specific mindset to the players. Tactically speaking, now speaking about strategy, game style, all that stuff, listen, I think he will try to do the best that he can with what he has, like he has done on every single small team he has coached in La Liga. That's it. He's a firefighter. He thrives for this kind of stuff. He's not a coach that will be in the long run on any single team. My biggest concern is that every single time that he has taken over El Tri has been in a situation with a very minimal amount of time before a World Cup, and he was able to make it function and do the same thing that Mexico has done for the last 20 years. This time around, he's going to have 2 years to prep, and that is my biggest concern. If you look at his time at Monterrey, which is the most recent one, or even look at Mallorca, first year he took over, he almost qualified them for European football, right? Second year he barely saved them from relegation. It was a very poor season for Mallorca,
Got the
and
Copa
same
del Rey
thing with
final.
that is true. That is true, but it, again, that's what you're gonna get with El Vasco Aguirre. You're gonna get very high peaks and very low lows.
Yeah, I mean Vasco, obviously somebody I think who was, like you said, firefighter. Somebody come in and put the fire out. Somebody that knows femexfut. Somebody that knows the players, knows ligamx, knows the system, knows how to control the system, how to work in the system, knows the higher ups, everything that comes with that job. I think Mexico, La Federación, was looking for someone like this just to come in and kind of steady the ship. At this point in time, would we have wanted somebody, I guess, a selección to show more ambition and go somewhere else? Not necessarily like a Sven Goran but somebody else to, like, an international coach, maybe a South American coach. The Panama coach comes to mind. There's a lot of openings. A lot of teams in South America that are looking for coaches as well. So there's definitely competition. But that if Mexico had shown that ambition, would we have preferred that? I don't know, because I think Mexico was, like we said, looking for that firefighter, somebody just come in and steady the ship. After 2026, I doubt he stays. Like you said, he stays at teams 2-3 years max, right? But I don't know, man. How beneficial is it to have that knowledge of the system, Liga MX, versus throwing a Hail Mary when you're going, exciting the fan base? Because I mean, the fans aren't necessarily excited with vascoaguirre. It's more of a, okay, I mean, better than Jimmy, would it have been better for eltri to go out there and just show that ambition and maybe try to get somebody from international caliber?
No, because I think that even if you bring Mourinho or if you bring Jurgen Klopp, name it, man, whoever you want to bring over, Scaloni, yeah, right, whoever.
I don't think we're talking about Mourinho or Jurgen Klopp. Yes, Scaloni is probably a better him,
Or
Bielsa, or somebody that knows Latin
Lopetegui,
America, no?
yeah, something like that. I don't think it will make it. Maybe with the exception of Bielsa, because we know Bielsa, and Bielsa has coached in Liga MX, by the way. But I think if you would have brought, name whoever, I don't think they would have made a difference, man, because the talent pool as of right now is significantly uh, scarce, super scarce. Who else are they going to call up? They probably would
Mauricio
have been.
Pochettino.
Yeah, I mean, bring Pochettino, right? And I don't think I don't think a lot of things will change. Um, they are definitely going to go with someone with a big name that will resonate with the fans, someone that they can say, all right, the next 2 years we'll just focus on maybe doing a decent World Cup, maybe qualifying to the not only the second round but the third round maybe, and we'll call it a day. Because if you look at the last piece of PR or announcement that Doña Fede made, they have stopped mentioning 2026, and they're within the language now. They're including 2030 and 2034. So I think it's pretty clear that they're going to look for someone who just comes here, pick up the slack, and then maybe either bring in someone that sits next to El Vasco and preps for the 2030 and 2024 cycles, or after 2026 they just say, hey, you know what, we're just gonna grab someone who's willing to be here for 8 years, no matter how good or bad things get.
Yeah, we've heard that before, but things get bad and then they jump ship.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean, definitely interesting time to be a Mexico fan here. See what's going to happen going to 2026 with vascoaguirre. Keep it here, PPG. Once that pretty much has been confirmed, but no official post as of yet from La Selección. Once that's posted, obviously we'll be covering it. But yeah, definitely let us know in the comments below. What are your thoughts on Vascoaguirre coming back? What are your thoughts on Jaime Lozano leaving? And definitely interested to hear from you guys. Adrian, as we wrap up this episode, bro, where can listeners find us?
They can always find us on YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, and turn on the notifications. You can also find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcast on. Last but not least, you can also find us on Instagram, TikTok. We post memes, latest news, and shorts of our episodes.
Yeah, so be sure to follow us on your preferred social media platform of choice. If you enjoy ligamx, MLS memes, Mexico memes, US MNT memes, definitely, and news, of course. Follow us if you get a chance. At the end, man, another good episode. See you in the next one, bro.
Deuce.